All right, let's fire it up and see how she sounds. Yeah, that sounds nice. Today we're gonna check out the new build for Dirt Road CRED, my 2024 Rubicon 392 in Bikini. Well guys, if you haven't watched our last video where I got rid of my 2022 high velocity Wrangler, then make sure you go do that, and that'll make a lot more sense as to why I got this. But the 2024 Rubicon 392 in this bikini color was ultimately the perfect choice for me and for the channel here. We did a lot to that high velocity Jeep, really made it an awesome vehicle, but I just had to upgrade, and I knew if I got rid of that, it couldn't be for something that was similar. And the cool thing with this is too, is it's gonna be a lot more safe. A lot of people mocked about the last video because I said to my wife, like, this is just so much safer. We got a second baby on the way. We need a 392 for merging and for the airbags. And if you guys want to try and use that excuse with your significant other, please be my guest or just send them to our channel because it is safe. But anyways, guys, I did not order this Jeep. So a lot of the time I do factory order my vehicles. I did not order this one. This was one of one that was delivered down to Lindsay down at Dan Cummins, and it was the only one in bikini. She has a lot of 392s available, but this is the only bikini that was only available to be ordered for 2 months, and you can no longer get it. So these are completely gone. I've been a fan of this color since it came out. I absolutely love it on the Jeeps, and I think it just looks fantastic in the light. It's a little bit overcast today, but when you've got it polished up, it just looks great. Now on this Jeep, there's not really too many things you have to option. You couldn't do the Sky One Touch, and I didn't want it either, so that was perfect. The one option that this Jeep did come with was the worn Xeon 8S. So that's on the front there, and it already comes with the vehicle. Now, the one thing that I do like about that, which a lot of people don't know, is having this on here, yeah, it's a little bit more expensive. It comes pre-installed, but then the biggest thing is that this features the factory warranty on it. We have the front camera up front, that comes with all of them. This could have got the satin black grille, which I don't really like. I like to see the color, and this granite accent just looks fantastic with it. Now on the front also, you get these nice bulging bumperette caps here, and that's to compensate for the winch. So there's crush cans in here if you get in a front end accident. When they crush, your airbags go off. Since the fair lead and the hook stick out a little bit, these come on here. I don't know, they just look like too protruding. Looks like my Jeep's cold, if you know what I mean. Up front, color match fenders, LEDs, full setup on here, and then you got to check out the 392 hood. That looks fantastic. This bikini color, especially when I'm looking out of the driver's seat, that color just is awesome. And I honestly love everything that Jeep's done with it. Now, I love a lot of things Jeep's done about it, but there's a lot of parts already on order from a lot of our fun vendors and our great friends that are going to change this Jeep up just enough to make it our own. So we're doing 1-tons, coilovers, no, I'm just, but yeah, we got a lot of cool parts coming for it. First, we got to get all the salt off from all the snow and stuff that we've been getting here in PA. I don't know, Ryan, you want to pop the hood? Let's pop the, I haven't popped the hood yet. I didn't even test drive this before I bought it. Most expensive Jeep I've ever bought, and I didn't even test drive it. Let's pop the hood here. The extremely heavy hood. That's because there's a lot going on though. Yeah, if you guys watch our first things to do with every new Wrangler I get, it's checking the fuse box because these are pushed in from a factory. And yeah, my fuses on this one need to be pushed in too. So here it is, guys. Here's everything I bought this Jeep for. The 6.4 liter, 392 cubic inch engine underneath the hood. Now, Jeep has been doing this since 2021, if you guys weren't aware, but 2024 is confirmed to be the last year of this. So they're releasing the final editions now. You cannot get it in this color, and I figured now was the time to pick one up. Underneath the hood, a lot of things are different than my other Jeeps. So typically on the 2 liter or the 3.6, your airbox is over on this side. On the passenger side, on the 392, they're over on that side. And that's for a lot of different reasons. They really had to redesign the way that this engine worked. It's not just a standard 392. It's not just one they pulled out of the SRT vehicles. They put the alternator up top. There's a lot of reworked parts in this, including the hydro guide hood. Now, this is a feat of modern engineering for them to be able to actually make that hood scoop functional and not dump water into your engine, because water and engines do not go along too well. What this hydro guide does is separates the water from the air and drops all the water out of the back here. There's little flaps on this side, on either side of the engine bay. It sucks it in, gives you fresh air onto that side, and helps power this engine. Now, what this has is 470 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque. They claim that the 4xe has the same when you have the 2.0 liter and the electric, but it's not the same as a V8. This is naturally aspirated and doesn't require anything else. And honestly, there's a lot of fun when you press the pedal and put it in a couple different modes, which I'll show you inside. I don't think personally I'm gonna modify anything under the hood. I didn't even think an air intake. I talked to Scott Bloom, and he said the biggest thing with these is they were designed to get the maximum power out of them. So by putting an air intake and other things, I just don't think I'm gonna see too much out of it. So I'm just gonna leave it alone. So it makes a lot of power, makes everything that I want to under the hood. And another quirky thing that I saw is The way that they ran the winch cable, I thought came up along the frame, but it's all nicely done. Well, it's all nicely done, and this is just kind of hanging here. I might need to tie that down a little bit because that's a little interesting. All right, well, I'm gonna zip tie that so that way it doesn't rub through and cause any problems, but it was designed by Jeep, so they made sure not. That is actually, really? As we move on to the side of the Jeep, we close the hood up, and I gotta tell you, I'm a really big fan of the Bikini Blue. I just think it looks so fantastic on this Jeep. But this one does come factory with the Extreme Recon, of course, on all the new 392s. So you get the kind of lightly bronze and machined wheels. I'm not the biggest fan of these. I think the perfect wheel was the 21 and 22 Extreme Recon wheel with the full bolts around it. So these are gonna get swapped out, but the 35s and everything, the way that it's set up here, we've been running in a lot of snow and ice lately, and they've been doing a really good job. This has the same height lift as the Extreme Recon. We do plan on going a little bit higher with this Jeep, but on the side, everything does come color matched. The only thing I would have changed on this is that I do like a black top. I think a black hardtop really does change it up a little bit and gives it some breakup. I do like the Bikini on this, but I'm curious. I'm gonna throw my dad's hardtop on and see how I like that as well. But just looking at it, I think it looks a little bit like an AMG or a very expensive G-Wagon. The other item that was removed is the antenna. So no Bronco antenna on this vehicle. It's all built into the windscreen. So we have that completely built in. Adaptive cruise control and the full setup on the inside. We do have the Mopar Extreme Recon tire carrier in the back and a full-size spare, which we plan on changing all that out as well. And then, of course, the quad tip exhaust. This really came with everything. Now, moving on to the interior of my Jeep, I will say I'm a fan of the red interior with this color. I do not mind it, and honestly, I think if I ever did swap out, I would probably do black with a little bit of red accents, but I'm not the biggest opponent to it right now. Some colors, it absolutely does not look good at all, but I think on the Bikini color, it's already vibrant enough outside that on the interior, this looks pretty cool when you open up the door. I will say, too, that after going on a long road trip, these power seats are a lot more comfortable than the past ones. I don't know what it is. If it's more bolstering, more adjustability on it, I was a lot more comfortable on our road trip back from Dan Cummins in this than I was going down in my 22. And that's probably just me justifying it because I spent this much. But the other thing that I do really like about this Jeep is the 12.3-inch screen. I gotta say, I was very jealous of Ryan's when he got it because you just have so much more real estate on there and a lot more customization. Another cool thing on here, which I don't know if it's a computer glitch or a little quirk, is that I can press the front camera at basically any speed and it'll show me the front camera. On my last Jeep, I had to be below, I think, 10 miles an hour, and it would gray it out. Anything over that, I couldn't click on it. This one, I can click it at 60 just to see what's going on up there. One thing, though, I will say I'm a little disappointed with this Jeep is the fact that everything seems kind of all over the place when it comes to the color coordination. On the top of the dash here, I've got silver stitching. On the center of the dash over there, I've got red stitching. The grab handle has silver stitching again. This has red stitching. This has silver. And then all this is red stitching with red seats. And then to top it off with all the colors in here, all of them come with the same cluster, which is orange. It's kind of a lot going on in here. I will be honest with you guys. I do understand what they were trying to do to keep them similar for all of the builds, but when you're paying this kind of money, the other thing I'll say, I almost forgot to say it, it doesn't come with all-weather floor mats. So you have to option $150 option into this Jeep. And these are absolutely abused with salt right now. So we do have a set coming. But yeah, some things like that, I would say Jeep maybe should get a queue on and be like, you know what, this guy spent this much. Let's throw the all-weather floor mats in. You know, what the heck? Overall, very happy with the interior, with the ride quality of it. My son loves going in the back seat. The back seats are the exact same as all the other JLs, just the fronts came with power. And then the only other thing I have noticed is just a little bit difference in the roll cage here and the lighting. When you turn that on in the center section, you actually have lights that face the front and face the rear instead of that just center cube-like thing. But very comfortable to drive. I love throwing in the Off-Road Plus mode. Some things that I didn't know about it, Off-Road Plus mode, when you turn it in, it makes it full-time 8-cylinder, turns off your traction control, and makes the shift points a lot quicker. You can do that at any speed in this, and let's just say I've been doing that a little bit when conditions allow or when I'm off-road. So one neat thing about the Uconnect 5, besides the fact that you have a 12.3-inch screen, you've also got your own profile. So if I click up here, you can see I've got matte set up and you can actually make the icon. And you can really do a lot with this. On the home page, you can set up different widgets. So you can actually customize this entire screen to be either set up like this, you can have your radio playing, or on this screen, I've customized it. So I have my front cam, rear cam, off-road pages, and you can actually automatically set up comfort modes. So I can have it set, so as soon as I click that, everything goes back to 69 degrees and automatic. Or I can adjust it manually, but it's kind of neat that you can do that. So front cam, you can turn on at any time. I can go over to the back camera there too. I have pitch and roll for the off-road mode, and then of course my off-road page is here. But it's really nice in the media section. Everything's laid out great. I gotta say I am very happy with this, especially in the navigation. This is TomTom navigation on here. It actually pops up when you first launch it. CarPlay is fully loaded on here. Vehicle settings are all built in. And there's a lot of apps. I haven't even played with half of it because there's just not enough time. I just like to get in and drive. But obviously a lot going on this Uconnect, and the screen just makes it a lot nicer, especially in CarPlay. If you go somewhere like this, that's a great looking setup. You have your full screen plus this over here. So you really do get a lot out of the Uconnect 5. So when you're just regularly driving this with the exhaust valves open, so the performance exhaust on, it sounds very clean. It sounds nice. It will drop down into 4-cylinder mode due to the MDS in the 6.4 liter, save you a little bit of fuel. It does sound like it's gurgling a little bit. It's a little bit different sound. But when you shut off the active exhaust, hear how quiet that is?
Yeah, it got real quiet.
It's quiet in here. I mean, especially like I can only imagine if you had just a regular Rubicon X, where it was like you got the setup where the Rubicon X doesn't have the V8, it's probably dead quiet in there. This is a little bit noisier because it's got more cylinders and a little louder, but that's kind of why you're buying it. I like to leave it open, especially when I'm cruising around in town. That's kind of the whole point of it. But one nice thing is too, when you do it to off-road plus mode, so when I click that in, you can almost hear it start to gurgle too. It makes it into the V8, so it's always in V8 mode. And the cool thing is it's changed the shift timing, it changes the transmission timing, and then it also turns traction control off. So while you're driving in this mode, it's definitely a lot different than what I'm used to. And I didn't know all that until I looked it up on the forums that it changed all those things. But I gotta say, it's fun. And in this particular Jeep, there's not a speed limiter in it. In my 2-liter turbo, Ryan, you remember Off-Road Plus, it would shut off at like 15 miles an hour. Since this has 4-high automatic, it can stay in at basically any speed. So it definitely, it gets up and goes. We'll maybe just... Yeah, I mean, like, it's meant for off-road, so we'll go off-road with it and really hammer on it, but I could see in the beach or something like that, that would be extremely fun, or even just driving down the highway. The one nice thing I do like about driving this, and I did hear about it, I'll give you credit. We were just talking, who's his name? I think his name's Bert. He was chatting with me on Instagram, and he had talked to Scott, who actually said the steering boxes on these are upgraded too, even bigger than the other Extreme Recons. So like the steering on this feels a lot softer and easier to turn than my 22. And he said it's because the steering box was changed up underneath. I don't know if that's true, but I definitely feel a little bit lighter of a steering on this compared to my old Jeep. And the one thing also, when these 21 392s came out a couple years ago, they said the whole point of them was to drive like an SRT vehicle, to drive and perform like the SRTs, the Hellcats, the Challengers, and really be a high-performing vehicle. And this Jeep is that. It feels like it's just floating. It feels like it's really controlled around turns, going over bumps, things like that. It does not feel like a giant heavy V8 Jeep. It's definitely tuned up. And I gotta say, I am noticing that all just right off the bat. In today's viewer rig of the video, we're checking out Woody's 97 TJ. It's not too often we get a TJ submission, but I have a soft spot because I've owned so many of these, and this is my rig during high school and most of college. Now, he actually said his mom bought this new and about 12 years ago gave it to him. What a great story. I love to hear that. Has about 100,000 miles on the original 4.0 engine and manual transmission. He had a set of 33-inch Mickey Thompson ATZs on 15-inch Pro Comp wheels. I actually messed up and said 15-inch wheels the other day. I was thinking about my TJ and YJ days. 2-inch rough country lift, best top front bumper and interior. And he said his sidekick is his Bentley, his Boston Terrier who loves Jeep rides. I absolutely love that burnt orange color. I think it's Sunrise. I can't remember the exact color of it. That color, if they would make it in a JL, it would sell out in a heartbeat. That is a beautiful color, and I absolutely love it with the tan interior. So beautiful pictures here. Thank you so much for submitting this too. I love to hear a story where the Jeep has been in the family for that long. Well, since 97, that Jeep's been in the family for 27 years. That's awesome. So really cool to see that it was passed down. Yeah, beautiful Jeep. Thank you guys so much for submitting, and we really appreciate that. If you guys want to have a chance at your rig being featured, be sure to hit us up through Instagram or send us an email. Now with my last Jeep, it did start to get to the heavier side with all steel armor, heavy beadlocks, heavy tires on there, and you definitely could feel it a little bit with the 2-liter. It did very good. However, with the 392, I don't have as much to worry about power-wise. I do want to alleviate some of the weight. I am absolutely shocked about how much weight these front and rear Mopar steel bumpers weigh. I just took off the end caps, and each piece, I even let Ryan pick them up, they're like 15 pounds just for the end caps. So definitely a ton of weight there. I'm thinking about shaving as much as I can off of this Jeep to make it feel more nimble, get a little bit better fuel economy if that's even possible, but make it a little faster too. And overall, we're just excited to get this build started. What do you guys want to see? Do you want to see a color match? Do you want to see the bumpers in a granite color? Like, you guys can kind of let us know from the start. Now, this has been a fun video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And from Ryan and I here at Dirt Road Cred, we want you to get out there and earn yours.